Today we're talking all things Memorial Day, so stay tuned. Welcome to the Christian Indie Writers Podcast, where we inform, encourage, and support Christian indie writers on their journey toward publication. I'm Jennifer Carl Tong, and I write historical Christian romance.
I'm Jamie Hirschberger, and I write short fiction under the pen name J.R. Nichols.
And good morning, everybody. Sorry for the late start. It's all my fault. Once again.
You do so much, like, whatever.
I don't really, Jen. But oh my gosh, there's actually someone here. Christy is here. Katie and Christy are here. Didn't think anyone was going to show up because I had done the stream. We had to cancel last week. And I had done the stream and I put like a cancel thing on there and whatnot. And then this week when we met, we're like, well, we're just going to do the same episode. It's after Memorial Day, but it's still relatable. So we're just going to do it. Okay, good. We're all good to go. No, we're not good to go because it was an old stream. And then I had to figure out. So we just had this old stream kind of hanging out there doing nothing. And anyway, so nobody's got a notification except for Christy and Sadie, apparently. Sadie says, I miss Tina. That's so sweet, Sadie. Tina was going to try to be here today. She's still feeling under the weather. She's going to be gone for the next few weeks because they already had a vacation planned to go visit her mother. So probably another 3 to 4 weeks before we get to see Tina again, but she is on the mend. And we actually got to talk with her this week because she came to our meeting. Hey, Piper's here as well. Hello,
Piper.
Hooray! We're not alone, Jamie. I thought, well, if anything else, at least Jamie and I get to hang out. So, well, if you are new to our podcast, we are not always this disorganized. Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
But that's okay because we're just a lovable bunch of knuckleheads, apparently. But if you are new, this is what we call up our What's Up segment. This is where we take a few minutes and just catch up with each other to see how each other is doing. And so, Jamie, I'm going to start with you. What is up with you?
Well, did you know? Hold on, I want to make sure. Today is the International Day of Potato.
I had potato already this morning.
Okay, so it is observed every year to increase awareness of the importance of the potato as a food in developing nations and promote research and development of potato-based systems as a means of contributing to development goals. So apparently this is just the second year that we are celebrating the International Day of Potato. And okay. Jennifer, I see you are celebrating in high style. Did you have hash browns? What did you have?
No. So last night for dinner, we did grilled chicken breast, baked potatoes, and asparagus, which sounds like it's super easy. It's like the easiest. I marinate the chicken breast. And it is in season in Michigan right now. And I don't care what you say, nobody makes asparagus the way that Michigan makes asparagus.
I miss Michigan produce in general, I gotta say.
So good. Anyway, so we had leftover baked potatoes. I cooked more on purpose. And then I like cut one up, sprayed it with some olive oil, and then I threw it in the air fryer with some jalapeno cheddar smoked sausage links that I had bought. I cut one of those up. And then I scrambled an egg. It was a hearty breakfast. And but
sounds like something you get on the ranch.
I'm feeling like I'm at a ranch now. We have more chickens. I feel like we just got to get my gardens in. And yeah, so anyway.
Well, I wanted to tell everybody that I've been hungry for German potato salad, warm potato salad with bacon and vinegar. Yeah. I made some of that and it really hit the spot. That was a couple of days ago. And then today, what I wanted to pass along was the hack I told you about, Jen. Have you tried it yet? So if you want to make potato salad and you don't want to boil potatoes and you don't want to peel potatoes, guess what you can do? If you get the potato cubes frozen, like the Southern style hash browns, not the O'Brien unless you want the peppers and onions, and you nuke that bag after you poke some holes in it, I think it's 7 minutes, flip it 7 more minutes. but your results will vary until the potatoes are tender. I'm telling you, after it gets cold and you have your coleslaw ingredient or your potato salad ingredients all mixed in, you would never guess that you took a cheat. And the texture, I thought the potatoes would just fall apart. I thought there wouldn't be that good clumpy bite of potato, but it so works. It really works. It's a great hack if you want to make potato salad and you don't want to be bothered boiling or peeling potatoes.
That's awesome. I think I might try that. And I want your recipe for the German potato salad, by the way.
We'll share. It came out so good. Although, to be honest, I did throw extra vinegar on it. I'm just like, I'm not tasting that vinegar. Yeah.
So I'm a vinegar person
good.
too.
And
are you a pickle person?
Not as much of a pickle, because you know what, with pickles, like having to bite into that cold thing. I like drinking the pickle juice. I like relish.
Really?
But I don't like a big old, I don't want to say bony pickle. Pickles don't have bones, but it's just like, I don't like that experience.
So it's so funny you say pickle juice, because that kind of just flows right into my what's up.
Perfect.
Craziness. So there is it's not Amish, it might be Mennonite. It's just a bulk food store in Snover, Michigan.
Snover?
Yeah, right. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's in the Thumb, for those of you that are familiar with the area. It's in the Thumb. It's a little less than an hour from my house. But my parents used to go there so often, and you always hear people say, like, yeah, I went to Snover and I got, bulk chicken bouillon or whatever. So I'm like, I've been wanting to go to this place. I've been struggling to find white rice that is not enriched, because we are pretty convinced that we have the MTHFR gene, which that's a whole other thing, and you can go Google it. But you're not supposed to have things that are enriched. And the only rice I can find locally that isn't enriched is basmati, which is fine for some things, but not others. It just doesn't make a good Spanish rice, and it doesn't make good soup.
Yeah. Rice. Yeah. I have a hard time with rice texture. Yeah. Okay.
So I want to go to this place and see, because it's got a lot more natural stuff too. And my dad's like, I think you're going to be disappointed. I wasn't. It's exactly what I expected. You can buy flour by the ginormous bags. And not only flour, but the gluten-free flour that I buy for my daughter in ginormous bags for cheap when you do out the math, right? Some things were there were more expensive because you're out in the middle of the country, but most stuff was like the things I wanted would like stock up on, including a giant bag of rice that is not enriched, and it was cheap. I did not get it yet because I'm not prepared. Like, I need to get like some food grade buckets, and I was
going to ask, how do you keep the bugs out? Yeah, I was going to ask you.
I need to have a system for how I'm going to organize it. But I've got like, I'm so excited. So I had that day. But anyways, walking around, and they had some of the most unique stuff, including you can buy, because I guess they make their own pickles there. They make a whole bunch of stuff. Like, their baked goods are literally made right there, which I know that Myers does kind of, and Kroger does. No, I mean, they're taking flour and measuring it and making their dough. They're not like getting it from the dough from a factory and stuff, or a cake mix. Like, it's all from scratch, which was super cool. They had pickle juice fresh pickle juice by the jugs. And I was like, oh, who do I know that I can gift that to? Now I know.
Let me just say too, pickle juice keeps coming back into my world. Did I tell you I went to see my kid play soccer, and this other kid, like collapsed on the field, like not a heart attack or anything, but he had horrible cramps. That's exactly what Mrs. Hannon, my friend Kim, told me, that they have their kids carry pickle juice for sports for that reason, that it's very good for replenishing quickly and getting rid of those cramps.
It's so much better than those crappy sports drinks with all the fake things in. Have you ever looked at the ingredients of those? Like,
you're so funny.
Like, I don't like them anyways. They taste gross, but
they might be getting cleaned up,
Yeah. They might. I'm not opposed to that. So Catherine says, oh, I didn't know I need to avoid enriched rice because of stupid MTHFR. Yes, anything enriched breads, enriched cereals, like it will. Yes. So you and I need to talk, actually, because you're the one, like, yeah.
And hello, thanks for finding us, Catherine. Yeah.
So, woo, you're here. Yeah. We are just as surprised as you are.
Piper has been writing like crazy. That's her what's up.
That's awesome.
Oh, whose birthday? Hubby's birthday. Oh,
Oh, happy
tomorrow's your
birthday.
anniversary. Oh,
Happy
wow. Lots going
anniversary.
on. Wow,
Yeah.
it's been a wonderful, what is this month? I almost said August. Wonderful May for you.
Piper also says, have you had deep fried pickles or pickle pizza? Have I had deep fried pickles? Piper, do I breathe oxygen? I live in Michigan. Give me a break.
I love them, and I hadn't had them until started my job here at Sonny's, which they got them off the menu. People were so mad when they went away. But you know what? I liked them with tartar sauce. Isn't that strange? I guess it's not because, pickles are in tartar sauce, but whatever. I think I'm a weirdo.
Right. I've never heard of pickle pizza, I'll be honest, but
I've seen it, but I haven't
really?
wanted to risk it because you're kind of thinking the pizza budget. Do you want to get your tried and true, or do you want to try that wackadoodle pizza that is.
Is it called pickle pizza or is it just pickles on pizza? Because Cottage and Pizza here has a I think it's the Nashville hot chicken, and it's got pickles on it. It's really good. It doesn't taste like pizza. That's the thing for me though, is that if I'm hungry for that, great, maybe I would get that. But when I go to a pizza place, I'm hungry for pizza. If I wanted Nashville hot chicken, I would have gone to a place that sells Nashville hot chicken. Do you know what I mean? I kind of get into that. Though I do love me a good barbecue chicken pizza or a BLT pizza. Those two.
I know. What is it? Is it so it's the marinara sauce, essentially. A marinara and mozzarella combo, right? That's traditional pizza.
Marinara.
I don't know if I rubbed off on you or if I just brought it out.
I think it was simultaneously. I think that was one of the things that when we first became friends, we were like, I thought I was the only one. For you, those of you that are just tuning in, if you've been a lifelong fan, you probably are laughing right now because you've heard us do that. If something at all comes close to mana mana, Jamie and I jump on it. And we will pronounce the word in a way that the other person knows to go do 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 do. So, but maybe you guys haven't noticed because we sometimes do it kind of sly in the podcast, and the other two wouldn't notice, and they would just continue with the podcast. And Jamie and I are like, mana.
Do 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 do.
Okay. We're not really gonna have a podcast today. We're just gonna chat. Piper says, "Boy, that Gene typed out looks like a naughty word." I know. Everyone makes that joke for sure.
Samuel Jackson enters the chat.
Yeah. Piper says that she tried fried pickles at a state fair. Of course you did. Of course that fried pickles are at the state fair. If you've never heard of Charlie Barons, you need to go look up Charlie Barons. He is a comedian. Sometimes he swears a little bit, but he is a Midwest comedian from Wisconsin, and he does a bit he has a video about going to the state fair and all the things that you can eat, and it's hilarious. But
what does one budget to go to the state fair? 200, 500?
Depends on how many fried. It depends on how close to a heart attack you want to get, I suppose. And you have to pay cash up front for the ambulance. That depends.
I mean, I think you empty your Christmas club account and you immediately start a state fair club account. That's
there you go. Oh my word. Okay, so one more what's up before we get started is Jamie shared this right before we went live, and I'm gonna share it. And Jamie, you gotta explain it.
I was looking for our scheduled podcast, and so I hovered over the other podcast we just did, learn from others' mistakes, and this is what YouTube decides is an enticing preview to give people. Jen is coughing, and I look like I'm doing a solo in a very bad opera. I've got my hand lifted to the sky and my other hand right by my face. Seriously, I could just see myself giving some kind of a solo. Oh no, I made that pose again. So they might pick this clip as well for the next time we have
it freaked me out a little because first of all, we were having a moment and we were running late. And then she puts this in there, and Jamie, you're wearing the same exact outfit, including hat. And so For a split second, I thought, did we go live? Are people hearing the things that we're saying and that we're doing? And this is showing up. I thought that's what you were trying to communicate to me, is that, Jen, we're already live. And I was like, what?
Oh,
Because I'm wearing
goodness.
dark glasses and both. I normally change it up. So I was
What a
like,
day.
oh my gosh, that was the best. So you made my day with that one, honestly. So okay, that's not what we're here for, ladies and gentlemen. We are not
No.
here for that. We are actually here to talk about Memorial Day, and as writers, how we can utilize that. So we're going to start off, first of all, because we know that we, believe it or not, we're international. I can't believe our next door neighbor might possibly listen to us, let alone somebody outside of the United States. But we are
Right.
international.
Mhm.
And so we're going to start off with talking about what Memorial Day is. So, Jamie, why don't you share with us, what is the origin of Memorial Day in the United States?
Well, first, what it's not. It's not to acknowledge anybody who's been in the service. We do have holidays for that.
Yes, Veterans Day.
Right, yes,
Mhm.
exactly. Memorial Day is specifically to remember those who are fallen in war and conflict, and to not forget their sacrifice and to honor it.
Correct. And it started out in the United States. It was originally called Decoration Day. And if you've read my books, they celebrate Decoration Day in them, but we'll
Yeah,
get to that
yeah.
later.
I thought
Um,
that was pretty interesting. Can't wait. Okay, go ahead.
yeah. My aunt who passed away, the one that I've talked about many, many times, and my grandparents and anyone kind of that generation and older, still called it Decoration Day around here. And the reason it was called that was because they would decorate the graves of those that had passed away in service. It specifically started in the Civil War. I don't know if you knew that, but it was
Mm-mm.
when the Civil War ended, and then they felt like they needed to honor people that had lost their lives in the Civil War. So that's where it started originally, and then over time, somewhere in the 70s, I think early 70s, it according to our notes, 1971, was switched over and became a national holiday and started being called Memorial Day. So we were born in the 70s after the name change. So we've never known it as anything else. But have you ever heard a family member call it Decoration Day?
Personally, no, I have
Mm.
not. In fact, your book introduced me to the concept of it being called something different.
Oh,
So it was very educational for me.
well, thank you.
And you know what? Memorial Day felt so early to me this year, but it is observed on the last Monday of May. And since May ends on the 1st, which is a Sunday, or on a Sunday, the 26th was the day, which it just felt so early, like, because I'm used to it being like the 30th or the 31st or something like that.
Right.
I guess just because of how it's fallen the last couple of years got me into a strange feeling about it. Did it feel early to you?
It did. And I was freaking out a little bit about my garden because my dad had always
Oh.
told me that you got to get your garden in by Memorial Day. And I don't subscribe entirely to that because I also do a cold weather crop garden that my dad never did that before. So things that can go out when it's literally freezing out still, like cabbage and kale and things like that.
Mhm.
But our here in Michigan, it's not really been warm enough. So Memorial Day was early and my ground is still cold. And so I'm not actually really nervous about it. I'm going to put the garden in this weekend, maybe the rest of the garden, like the corn and the pumpkins, the things that really need warm stuff. So yeah, like I feel like it's kind of for me always been a holiday where you put flowers on graves, but then also it always is like the beginning of summer because the garden goes in um
Mm.
around that time. So
Which I think is rather beautiful because you're starting new life as you
mhm.
remember
Yeah,
lives that have passed. So that's actually very nice to think about,
yeah, I
frankly.
agree. All right, so the reason we wanted to bring this up, not only because it's kind of a pivotal time of year in the United States, I feel like it does kind of like you leave one season and another season, not only seasonally but also metaphorically. It kind of feels like 'cause when the sun comes out, you just kind of feel like a little bit like let's do some new things, right?
Yeah.
What can we as writers do that? So why do you think we're going to talk about, first of all, why does it matter for writers to use remembrance in their writing?
Okay,
Why?
so It makes me a little bit uncomfortable because frankly, we have in our notes that writers have the power. And when you think about the power that a writer has to change characters, black marks on paper or digital paper, into persuasiveness or anyway, the power that you have over your reader to preserve history, to illuminate, sacrifice, to educate, as Jen did in her book, and to honor those who have fallen. So you have a lot of power in your pen. And it's very uncomfortable for me to think about sometimes, right?
Really?
Because because I don't know why. I guess, am I afraid of power? I guess I'm afraid of because, okay, I have not arrived as a human, surprise, but I will look at who I was even a year ago and be like, that chick needed some help. So I know that this chick needs some help. And if I am like espousing a point of view or persuading or influencing, what is the person 5 years from now going to think about that impact that she made on people? It's the strategic mindset, I think, that gets to me there. But anyway,
this is a little off topic. I mean, it's not on topic, but it's a little bit off of the outline, but it'll blow your mind a little bit, I think. So, like, we always come to things from a fiction standpoint, which I feel like all these things that you've talked about, we can do, like, with our fiction. But if you write nonfiction, I feel like there's even a bigger weight on your shoulders. When I was a freshman in college, I took an American history class because I thought it would be easy. I'll be honest, because all the other classes were going to be hard. I'm like, I've taken American history at least 3 times in high school, so this will be fine. And the professor spent the whole first week. Now, mind you, this was in 1991. So he spent the entire first week teaching us that Thomas Jefferson had a mistress. Not only did he have a mistress, but he was in love with her. They had a family together, and he married her. And you're by the end, you're like, oh my gosh, why have we not learned this? This is so great. Then the next week, he spent the entire next week teaching us using historical documents and things, teaching us that it wasn't true.
Wow.
And at the end of the second week, we were like, what are we doing here? And his point is that history is subjective to who is teaching it to you, who is writing it.
That's crazy.
And so we now know through DNA evidence the truth, right? So, but then we didn't have that DNA evidence. So again, when you're writing even nonfiction, like you do have kind of power, even like, because everybody's perspective will also alter things a little bit too. So it is a little bit of a weighty thing, I do think, but I think that also it can be a very good thing. So
yes,
because it gives you, it doesn't, I feel like that using Remembrance doesn't just teach us history. It also, like, it can express some deep truths. Like for me, I was able to use that. There was a scene specifically that I used when they were at Decoration Day at the cemetery. And I wanted to show Sarah's personality as a small child, knowing that the next book was going to be Sarah's book. And I knew that I needed my readers to see a little bit of Sarah, so they are ready for the Sarah that was coming, if that makes sense. So I used it for some deep truths that really you might not have like realized or even think, but I was able to. I think that I did exactly what I was hoping to do in that chapter. So
yes, and so if you want to sort of get access to people in a way. Like, have you ever met somebody and you wish that you could tell them something about either their lifestyle or like something where you feel like, but we're not close enough. Like, I don't have that access to that person because I have not built enough relationship to where they would care even what I have to say to them. Do you understand what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can do that in your writing. You automatically get like entered into a person's influential sphere when they agree to pick up your book and go on the narrative journey with you. So you get an access to people that you typically would not get. Complete strangers.
Right. Agreed. Um, Paper says, wait, I don't know if she's being sarcastic or not, but I'll wait for those of us who haven't followed
Oh,
the saga. What did the DNA evidence reveal? He did have children
yeah,
with
he has a
Sally
whole
Hemings.
bloodline.
He has a whole bloodline of so as far as though, like, were they in love or was she just his slave? Um, I believe from the evidence that I have seen and read that they had a relationship. Was it, like, completely consensual? I mean, it looks like on the surface it was, but there was such a huge age difference. She was so young that as an adult now, I'm like, was there some grooming at least happening? If not more pressure than that. But he treated her well. His on his death, all of his children were free. Like he he had one son that was freed. Like all the children were freed at birth, I believe, but that sometimes he'd be walking around town and be mistaken for his dad. He looked that much like him. So anyway, okay, moving on. That's not what this is about. Sorry. Um,
It's interesting.
it is very interesting. I find history, obviously, I find history extremely interesting. I could sit and talk for hours about this kind of stuff, but
Yes.
okay. So, let's talk about real quick. So, what ways that we can, because we got to do this, we got to go through this outline really quick, guys. I'm really sorry because we're late. So there are ways that you can handle Memorial Day and other remembrances. And some of the ways would be really obvious, like by writing military themed characters, which you will find in my books. I have a couple of different characters. They're completely different from each other. But I would say that if you want to write a military themed character, you got to do your research. You
Yeah,
have
for
to
sure.
know. You have to know that not only that war, but you like kind of like some of like the things that would have been going on in the culture then. For example, people coming back from World War I, when my books were written, got a very different reception than soldiers coming back from Vietnam when my dad came back. Very different. And if you don't know the difference and you write Vietnam characters coming back to the United States based on your knowledge of World War I, then it is going to be very disgenuine because it's completely different. Um, Also, I would say please avoid cliches. Like I said, I had two different characters. I had Will, who was like the kind of like the doughboy, like the Captain America kind of personality. And then I had John, the one that was very much, he went into war already scarred and it just scarred him some more. And so just
Jaded and
jaded, right. So not everybody coming out of war needs to be jaded. Not all of them have to have PTSD. I think that like obviously that is an obvious thing that happens to our soldiers, but it doesn't have to be that. So don't be cliche with everything.
And if you don't want to write the same character over and over, you know me, always urging you to get out of your little introverted writer shell.
Mhm.
Here's a good way to something to talk about with veterans or veteran family
Yeah.
members. Talk to them about their experiences. Maybe if you play your I'm writing a book card, they might open up to you in a way that they haven't opened up to anyone else. And it would be therapeutic possibly for them just to have somebody to talk to. So I encourage you to try to get that firsthand insight if you can.
Right. And also don't use military just for like the drama of it. I mean, if you are Tom Clancy and you write like Tom Clancy, that's different. Like his military stuff is so detailed because that's his audience. I think there's a lot of what he writes that does not move the story forward, but it doesn't matter. His audience is there for all of the military
That's
details.
what they want.
That's
Yeah.
what they want. But you gotta know, again, you gotta know your genre, gotta know your
For
audience. But
sure. For
when I
sure.
wrote Avoiding Esther, my opening scene is very heavy. It's in the middle of a battle. And it isn't just to like be dramatic and be like, like to get you into the story that way. There's a purpose. Like you jump from that scene to over to where Esther is and what's exactly happening to her, and the stories mirror each other so that you can see our characters who are coming from very different backgrounds are experiencing something kind of very similar, at least metaphorically. And then at the end of the book, I call back to it. So the book is framed as well. So don't just throw it in there just to have some sort of drama. Like make it have a purpose.
I would agree. And I think you did a good job. just a
Oh,
little plug for your book. I think everybody
thank
should
you.
pick it up and decide for themselves and then leave a review. Couldn't help myself. There you go, Jen.
Thanks, Jamie. All right. So beyond war, Jamie, are there ways that we can use remembrances, even if we're not going to do military or have military characters?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Because, if you broaden what you mean by sacrifice, right?
Hmm.
We talk about military sacrifice when we're discussing Memorial Day, but the
Right.
bigger concept, you could discuss things like everyday sacrifices, how a single mother might trust God with raising her kids, or a small town pastor who gives up, personal pleasures and comforts to serve others, or missionary couples who serve overseas. These are other types of sacrifice. If you wanted to brainstorm just on the narrative or theme of sacrifice in general, it's not just about war heroes.
Right.
They are not the only, sort of everyday heroes around us.
Right. And just like Jamie had kind of mentioned earlier, just look around you. Look around your community
Mm.
for people who are living a life of sacrificial service. You can look around and find people around you that have lived a military life, but you can also look for people that have served as missionaries, or look for people around. Every little community has somebody that is always there. Like there was this gentleman in our little town that in the summer you always see him out pulling weeds. And I assumed he worked for the city. And guess what? He doesn't. He just is
Mm.
retired, and he just doesn't he just thought it looked terrible when there were weeds growing up in the flowers on the corners of our little town. And so there's all you look around you, and I'm sure you will find some great examples to use in your stories.
Yeah, these are always the people where we lose them, and they have these gigantic funerals where the chapel can hardly hold the people that turn out, because they have been so active in their community and so sacrificially minded that they've touched many, many lives. Those are really great stories to explore.
Right. And as Christian writers, I feel like that we kind of are more focused on this anyway, because I think that we understand the ultimate act of love and Christ's sacrifice. I mean, John 15:13, that, great, no greater love, I'm butchering it. Greater love has, all right, I'm just going to read it. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends.
Right.
Again, I feel like when I wrote Will's character, the scripture was ringing in my ears. This is kind of what I had as an image for this character. So I think that we kind of are already almost like kind of tuned into that kind of stuff, if you know what I
Hmm.
mean, like, because we
Yeah.
already are tuned into that as Christians. But
Yeah. It's
so
part of the trellis of faith that we grow up around.
agreed. Agreed.
And I would just say, like, that's why we kept this episode instead of scrapping it. It was meant to be to celebrate Memorial Day, pre-celebrate before it happened. But because the theme of sacrifice is so deeply entrenched in the Christian life, we thought it was a really good topic to visit today.
Agreed. All right. So here are some suggestions that we have. We're going to say, here's some questions for you to answer yourself. Is there someone whose story you feel called to tell? And if there is,
Mm.
why is that? Chances are there's some sort of like hero-esque thing about this person or their personality or about their story. How
Mm.
have you seen themes of sacrifice in your own writing? Again, go
That's
back
a
and
good
look at,
one.
yeah, what have you already written that shows that you're already doing this? And how do you emulate that in other new writings as well? And then we would love for you, if you have somebody that you are inspired to write about, or something you're thinking about, or a story of a hero that you know, we would love for you to visit our Facebook group and share that with us. We would love to be able to share these stories with you as well.
I
So
love it when listeners share. I just love it. It's my
agree.
favorite.
You know what else is your favorite?
Oh.
The beating of the bags. It is our time of the week where we share with you our writing. So every week we have one prompt. We share it in oh, I didn't share it to the Facebook group this week. Sorry guys. But it's always in the description of this podcast, which again didn't come out till late. But I'm just digging a deeper hole here. We have one prompt. We all write to the same prompt, and then we come on here and we share it live unedited, because we're crazy. And Jamie, I'm going to have you be crazy first. Share what the prompt was and what you wrote, please.
Okay. For this week, we had a prompt that was a topic or a title. And so that was just the word memories. So that's the topic or title of your sprint. And here's what I wrote. me. Just kidding. Do you love it? Love it. You don't sound convinced. Well, come on, Bunting. It's tickets to a Broadway show just like you've always wanted. And look, he pulled out another envelope from the box and withdrew from it a piece of folded paper. This is the confirmation of the hotel I booked. And I got train tickets too. Tickets for the train? Yes, it's a real nifty setup. We drive the car right onto the train and it takes us and the car clear on up to DC. We can drive the rest of the way. Will that save us any time? No, but it will save me from having to be the one driving all those hours. We can spend them together, checking out the train cars and the offerings. It'll be a blast. Sure it will. She closed the card and placed it back into its box and gathered up the remnants of the wrapping as she stood. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the gift. Right. No, I mean it. Like you said, I've always wanted to take a trip up to New York and see a Broadway show. Right. So why are you acting like I got you Super Bowl tickets or a new vacuum or something instead of this amazing and thoughtful present? Is amazing and thoughtful. I'm sorry I wasn't more enthusiastic earlier. Just give me some time to warm up to the idea. Warm up to it. It's what you asked for. Call up one of your girlfriends and see how they would react about their husbands fulfilling a lifelong wish as one of their presents. You're right. I should be more. Ask them if their husbands would even so much as book a hotel room. I bet that husband of Cheryl's doesn't even buy birthday presents for her, the old tightwad. I'm sorry, I should have. And don't even get me started about your dear old dad. When was the last time your mother had so much as a new winter coat? Why, I bet the last time he bought her anything, it's cats. The words exploded from her and released a torrent she hadn't intended. You got us tickets to the worst show ever. And if I called Cheryl or my mother or even just my most casual acquaintance down at the theater, they would have been able to tell you that Cats is the very last show anyone should ever purchase me tickets for. She stood, breathing heavy, looking at him and not feeling the least bit sorry. You don't like Cats? Not a bit. Are you sure? Are you serious? I mean, how come I didn't know this? I don't know. I mean, how come you didn't know that train rides give me motion sickness second only to long car trips? How come you didn't know that I cannot stand red velvet cake? I love red velvet cake. How fortunate for you then that that is the flavor of cake that was delivered to my house for me to eat on my birthday. She stormed from the room. He heard the bedroom door slam moments later. Well, how do you like that? He said, then crossed the room to swipe a fingerful of frosting off the red velvet cake and muttered, whatever happened to, it's the thought that counts.
Oh, because you didn't think. Okay. Well done, Jamie. Well done.
Thanks.
So it was good because for a while I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm supposed to like this guy or not like this guy. Like I could tell by your tone as you were reading it, but part of me was like, if I was just reading this, would I think she was being a brat or would I think that there's something else up here? So I feel like that was good that you wrote it that way. And then, but when she said it's Cats, I'm like, yeah, who wants to go see Cats? The whole world knows this. Like so funny, so relatable. Getting the cake that he wants instead of what she wants. And it makes you know that this woman just does not feel seen. So well done. They felt, I feel like I'm offending Piper right and left. She's like, but also I love cats.
That's all right, Piper. Apparently zillions of people love it. Like it's,
And she said earlier, she said, thank you. I wasn't being sarcastic. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to be like, are you being sarcastic? I meant like, I didn't know if I honestly was missing a joke because I do often. So I just wanted to like, did I miss something? Because I don't want to make a fool of myself. So.
And in case you didn't know, it was the word memories because immediately that song started playing in my head. And I'm like, okay, I guess this story's about cats.
Yeah. Why did I think of that? That's so funny. Good stuff, Jamie. Good stuff.
All right, thanks. I
All right, so
appreciate
mine
that.
is way shorter than yours, and I felt like, when do you ever write and you just feel like I'm writing really slow? Like
Mm,
but I wasn't crafting. I didn't feel like it was. Sometimes I write slow because I'm crafting a really good word. And anyways, it's fine. So, you remember a few weeks back, I wrote in Widows of the West 2 where Charlotte and Shane were fighting. And so, but it was just we could only do dialogue. So
mm,
this is one area that I would have like backed off of the dialogue and let her so it's not great, but this is kind of where I want to go with it. Okay. It had been years, decades really, but as Charlotte stood staring at Shane, but did not really not really seeing Shane any longer, the memories flooded back with crystal clarity. She couldn't have been more than 7 years old at the time, but it was hard to remember that. The things she would like to remember never seemed to want to cooperate, while the dark, hard things always seemed to rear their ugly heads when she least wanted them to. But 6, 7, 8, it really didn't matter. Hannah had always been kind to Charlotte. After Charlotte's mother's death, she had been like a surrogate mother in some ways. When it stormed at night, Charlotte would huddle under the blankets, trembling until she heard the quiet patter of Hannah's feet and the soft click of the door opening. Hannah would sit at the end of her bed, quietly humming until the storm passed. Or at least Charlotte assumed she stayed that long. She never stayed awake long enough to notice when she left. Her mere presence and the gentle sway of her tune always calmed Charlotte into a deep sleep. She felt safe for Hannah. For a time. It was her fault, really. She didn't know her father would be angry at her helping in the kitchen, but she should have known. If only she hadn't changed into work clothes. But as both she and Hannah had reasoned, if she was going to be smashing raspberries for jam, she didn't want to ruin one of her pretty dresses. And she had been helping Hannah for years. But this day, the day her father caught them in the kitchen, this is the day it all ended. 3, 2, 1.
mm. Very nice tension buildup.
That's all there is, right? I didn't get where I needed to get to. That's the bummer of 15-minute sprints. I feel like I just can't get where I need to get to sometimes.
Well, and so you're saying that's the bummer, but so we do this exercise so that we actually write. And if you weren't constrained by 15 minutes, do you think that you would have just gotten into it and spent a lot more time writing?
Yes.
So it just goes to show you that sitting down to write and saying I will write for at least 15 minutes can really provoke you into getting, something out that you really need to do.
Right,
So I would
correct.
say it's a win for that reason because it accomplished what it was supposed to.
Yep, absolutely agree. And that's why, so when we're done here, I'm probably gonna finish writing this out because
Nice.
yeah, it's a good scene. It's where I need to go with this scene anyway. So yeah. So
Yay. All right.
so speaking of when we're done here, what's next for you, Jamie?
Oh my goodness, I do not even know. I didn't have a what's up until the very last minute. And now here I am faced with what's next, and I don't know. I opened up my audiobook thing. I'll just tell you, I had a really bad week as far as, the Scottish say it a little bit different. They say depression was upon me instead of I was
That's
depressed.
awesome.
And I feel like I've had gloomy days mentally and not really been into it. So it was like I opened up my project and I was like, this is terrible. And I closed it right back up. And so I just have to find the why if I'm going to get back to doing any of that this week. How about for you?
Yep. So for me, I'm gonna finish this scene today. And then I've got, oh my gosh, my girls have finished up the homeschool group. We got to finish up homeschooling. So we have
Mm.
I think just a couple of days and then we are done for the summer. And then that changes everything, right? So get them through homeschooling and then set up a better schedule for myself for the summer because I won't be so busy with that. So that's my what's next. So,
All
all right.
right.
Well, if you have a what's next and you'd like to share it in our Facebook group, the link is in our show notes. If you're not part of our Facebook group, why not? You're totally missing out.
Yeah, and if you want to carry over the is cats good or not debate into the Facebook group, I'll be happy to opine and to read all of the discussion there.
All right. Until next week, may your pen be prolific and your deadlines be met, and may all of your words out in Christ. Bye, everyone.
Bye.